morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning to you and this morning's Mind Body Reset webinar. Now, I just wanted to ask you a few little questions. Today's topic is about feeling torn. So, do you ever feel torn between two things? So, those two things might be feeling or being busy and racing around and wanting to be in that state or feeling like you need to be in that state versus wanting to be calm. Or maybe another scenario, do you feel like you're out of control and you want to feel more in control, but there's something stopping you from doing that? Do you want to feel, or sometimes do you feel like you're wanting to make one decision, but there's another maybe part of you that's wanting to make another decision or go in a different direction? Do you feel that your head is maybe your head and your mind is going in one direction, but your heart is going in another direction? Or your heart is going in one direction, but your gut is going in another direction? So let me know in the comments if this resonates with you. This concept of being torn between two decisions or two paths or two ways of being and feeling. So for those who don't know me, my name is Gumieniuk and I help women to overcome stress, anxiety, overwhelm, trauma and chronic illness using the mind and the body as the tool for healing and go beyond mindset and behavior change to really get support from the brain, the nervous system and the body, because there are so many ways that you can access healing and transformation beyond mindset and behavior change. So beyond just thinking positively, but looking at how we can reframe things, how we can access the subconscious mind and the nervous system, which actually keeps us safe. So using all of those tools to transform and create wellness, which are evidence-based. So you using the concept of neuroplasticity, psychoneuroimmunology, things like EFT, emotional freedom technique, and EMDR, eye movement, reprogramming, and desensitization and reprogramming. So today's topic is actually how to overcome being torn. So I'm kind of looking in this direction because I've got some notes over here. So jump on, let me know if this resonates and pop some comments as well. And I'll just check to make sure that I'm up here and if there's any comments popping up. So let me know if you're on board and if you have any questions as we go along. So today what we're going to do is we're going to cover the two sides of being torn. What are they trying to tell you? The 6 ways to resolve that sense of being torn and work through those 6 steps. So to start off with, there are 2 sides. And I think that what that does is it indicates that there are different parts of us. You know, there's a part of us that's positive. There's a part of us that might be negative. There's a part that wants to go in this direction because it feels right. And there's a part of us that wants to go in another direction because it feels right. So sometimes there are these parts of us or these different aspects of us because of our experiences, and it's also a way of us understanding and processing where we're at. So the next concept is, in terms of that concept of being torn, is that what is it trying to tell us? It's there for a reason. The feelings of being torn, that something doesn't feel right, those 2 sides, those 2 thoughts, it's actually trying to tell us something. So what is it trying to tell us so that we can make that decision and that those parts can actually feel more aligned and it can feel better within our body? And it's not like our head's going in one direction and our gut and our heart is going in another direction, that they feel like they're actually going in the same direction. So where this concept came about is obviously one of my clients jumped on and said, I feel torn between feeling like I'm settling by staying in a current job. And then the other side is by just doing nothing, you know, her body wants to, so she said, torn between settling and staying in the current job and then just doing nothing to calm the mind and the busyness. So there's two sides. One that's going to wanting to go for a new role and a new opportunity, a new change, which means a lot of busyness. And then there's a part of her mind and her body saying, you know what, actually I want to be here because this is a really calm place for me at the moment, and it feels kind of safe and it feels stable. But there's the other part saying, let's move on. I feel like I'm settling. So then there's that overall concept of wanting to feel peace and calm rather than just stuck in this job. So if we look at it in terms of this particular concept and break this concept down and break down the ways to not feel so torn is, I'll just check over here, there's that message. So number one, the first step to this process of not being so torn and resolving this feeling and sensations and thoughts is to have the awareness. So this is the first thing, and this is great because this particular person has that awareness that there are these two sides. Sometimes you might start with this really unsettling feeling like this isn't right, I don't know what to do, and that feeling feels quite heavy and you kind of feel stuck, but you don't know where to go and what's happening. So the first step is to actually have the awareness that there are these two sides and there are these two parts, or there are these two thoughts. So once you have those, potentially you might want to pop them on a piece of paper so that you're actually getting them out of your brain and out of your body and going, I acknowledge that there are these two parts and there are these two sides and they're actually in conflict and I want to work on that conflict. So step number one is creating that awareness. So step number two is then you have that awareness is actually acknowledging those two parts. So yes, you might have awareness and you've jotted them down, but have you actually acknowledged them? So whether it's, by doing it and putting it on a piece of paper or just in your mind, is actually say to the part that feels like it's settling and it wants to move forward, you might say, I acknowledge you. Like look at it or see it in your mind or feel it in your body and say, I acknowledge you. I see you. I see that you don't want to settle. I see that you want to move forward. And then just sit with that for a moment and see where that takes you. Because the settling part might go, oh, thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for giving me that time and that space. Because I've been trying to poke my head up here, but you haven't actually seen me. And then same for the other part of you. And so in this particular instance, it's the part that wants to be calm and the part that wants to do nothing and calm the busy mind. And again, on the piece of paper or in your mind, or you may feel it and say, I see you. I acknowledge you. I see that you're there. Thank you. Thank you for showing me. And then just wait a moment and see what comes up. So let me know whether you've done that before and how that worked for you, whether this is a new concept for you and whether you feel like, oh, this might be something that I've never tried before, and you could see maybe how it might be beneficial. So that can be really, really powerful, like very, very powerful in terms of acknowledging that part. And there's so much healing that can come just from acknowledging and that part being seen. Those two little parts being seen. So then the next part is you've acknowledged it and said, I see you, and you've given it that space. The next question, or the path that you can go down for each of those sides, is to ask those sides, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me? What do you want? What do you need? What are you trying to tell me? What do you want? I'll just write that down. And what do you need? Because both parts of you and both sides of you will want different things and will need different things. So again, it's, it's just like, I guess a bit of an analogy is, if you, you and your partner or you and your child, we're having a conversation or a debate about something, it's two different sides to the story. And so what do you do to try and resolve it? You have a conversation, you ask questions. okay, where are you coming from? What do you want? What do you need? And then you say, okay, that's what you want and that's what you need. This is what I want and this is what I need. So we have those conversations with people around us, but we don't necessarily have those conversations with the parts of us inside of us. So let me know if those resonate with you. Those three questions. What are you trying to tell me? What do you want? And what do you need? Hi. No, not done this before. We'll try. Excellent. Great to see that someone is on board and there's some questions and feedback coming up. So pop in some more and I'm more than happy to respond as we go along. So obviously then the putting it down on paper and getting it out of your head can be really powerful as well. So I've written, I'm settling. I'm settling by staying is on here. What do you want? What do you need? What another piece of paper is just do nothing, calming my busy mind. What do you want? What do you need? So getting things down on paper can be really powerful because it gets it out of the brain and out of the body as well and helps to create space within the body. But another thing is you could actually use these pieces of paper to actually feel where they need to be in terms of in relation to you. So it might be that just do nothing feels like it's sitting really close, and it feels quite good to hold on to this piece of paper. And then maybe hold on to the other piece of paper and feel what it feels like. I'm settling. I'm by staying, and you might go, okay, the doing nothing actually feels really good for me, but this other part, it actually makes me feel a bit queasy, or it doesn't make me feel so good. So maybe if I kind of put it a bit further away from me, how does that feel? That feels a little bit better. Or maybe if I move it away a little bit further, it feels a little bit better. So just have a sense of, because often we do things obviously very cognitively with our thoughts and with our brain, but we don't tune into how it makes us feel. And so because there are these two parts will have different emotions and different feelings associated with them. So actually spending a moment holding it, tuning into it, going, okay, how does this make me feel in my body? How does this make me feel in my body? And then doing a little bit of work on it from that perspective. So really getting into that feeling sense. So 2 other ways that you can resolve this torn feeling is, one might be to do the compassion meditation that I put into the group a few weeks ago, because sometimes that sense of torn is maybe you're needing some compassion for yourself or compassion for those two sides. So maybe doing that exercise for 5 or 10 minutes will bring a state of peace within, that then you can explore these two aspects from a calmer perspective. So the compassion meditation might be really beautiful. And then the other one might be to do some tapping, some emotional freedom technique to clear and resolve that process, or acknowledging that there's two sides. And you can do that by tapping on two sides. You might say something like, and you're welcome to tap along, even though there's a part of me, and we'll use this example, that wants to settle. Even though there's a part of me that thinks I'm settling if I stay, and tap on the other side, there is a part of me that just wants to stay here and calm my busy mind. Even though there's a part of me that feels like I'm settling if I stay in this job, there's a part of me that wants to stay and do nothing to calm my busy mind. Even though there's a part of me that feels like it's settling if I stay in this job, there's a part of me that wants to stay in this job so that I can calm my busy mind, or something along those lines. And you could say, this part of me that feels like I'm settling, this part of me that feels like I'm calming my busy mind by staying, this part of me that feels like it's settling, this part of me that feels like I'm calming my busy mind, this part of me that feels like it's settling, This part of me that just wants to stay and calm my busy mind. This part of me that feels like I'm settling. This part of me that wants to calm my busy mind by staying. This part of me that feels like it's settling. This part of me that feels like it's what it needs to calm my busy mind. This part of me that feels like it's settling. This part of me that feels like it's what it needs to calm my busy mind. This part of me that feels like it's settling by staying. This part of me that feels like it needs to stay here to calm my busy mind. This part of me that feels like it's settling if I stay. This part of me that feels like I need to stay to calm my busy mind. And we'll just do it there. We'll breathe in. Breathe out. And breathe in. Breathe out. So let me know if you went along with that tapping, how that felt, if there's any thoughts that came up for you, any emotions, any concepts around it, like, oh, I could use this for this particular scenario or that particular scenario. And just see that level of, I guess, disconnection or that sense of torn. Maybe do the rating at the beginning and then at the end do a rating. So let me know if you've just been going along with me just then, how you feel, whether that tapping or that experience changed anything. So I feel a lot calmer in my body by doing that. And what came to me is, as I was doing this, the words are, this is what you need to do. In terms of this is what you need to stay. So whether that was for myself or whether that was for those who are listening, it's this is what I need to stay, and feeling more aligned that those two parts of feeling like settling and then wanting to stay to calm the busy mind, it kind of felt like those two parts were coming a little bit more into alignment. What comes to mind is 80% in alignment. So that process of tapping can help, and doing the two sides can help bring that those two parts and create some stability and reduce some of the emotions associated with it. And it might be that as you go through the process, there are certain words or phrases or thoughts that come up for you. You can explore those. Jot them down, look at those two sides and do a bit more tapping on that to see if that can help. Because that's obviously a really good way to process the experience and reframe without having to I guess, cognitively work on it. So, okay, what have we got here? Tried it, still getting my head around it. I got just staying put coming to me. Yeah, great. That's awesome. And that's kind of the words that I had as well. So maybe just do an assessment on how, as a percentage, how torn are you? Or how torn are those parts? So it might be, so let me know what that number is for you now. Because I'm not getting the feedback on here, it's coming up online. And obviously there's a bit of a delay as well. So yeah, what is that percentage for you? And if it's you've gone down to, it's got, whatever it's shifted by, there's still some remaining, do another round and see where it goes. Still some remaining, do another round and see where it goes. And see if you need to change some of those words or some new words come up for you. Now 20% was 80%. So it was 80% torn, now it's 20% torn. That is fantastic. So just do another round of that and see if there's anything else comes to you. Even though this part of me, there's a part of me that's still torn and wants to stay, there's a part of me that wants to go, there's a part of me that wants to stay. And see where you go. So really beautiful how very quickly, just in a few moments of using the exact words and the exact feelings and sensations and the exact torn, the two aspects that are torn, then you're able to get some resolution and clarification on that. So that's really beautiful and really powerful. So just in summary, if you've ever felt torn, as we said, by concept of being busy and wanting to stay calm, or the concept of feeling out of control and wanting to be in control, or the concept of wanting to make a decision in one aspect and make another decision, or be torn between two decisions, or feeling like one part of you, like your mind wants to go in one direction, or your heart and your gut needs to go in another direction, then there are 6 steps to resolve it. So number 1 is having the awareness that there are these 2 parts of you, and that's okay to have those 2 parts. The second step is to acknowledge both sides and both parts, and actually saying, I see you and I acknowledge you. Then the next step is to ask those parts of you, what are they trying to tell you? What do they want? And what do they need? And from that, you can get the gifts of what to do going forward. Rather than just going, there's these 2 parts and I'm overwhelmed by them. There's these 2 parts that have actually can speak to me and give me some guidance and direction. Then the next part is potentially to do the compassion meditation, which is really beautiful, to give yourself compassion when you feel torn. Write the aspects down on a piece of paper and get it out of your body and feel and sense into them. And then also potentially do some tapping on those 2 parts and those 2 sides to resolve it. So what we have here is, I will do some more later. I've got to get back to work, but it should help me to keep me motivated for now. Fantastic, beautiful, first step. That's a huge step to go from 80 to 20. So I hope that was useful. Let me know if you're watching the replay, how it worked for you. Maybe work through a concept of being torn, and let me know what that concept was for you, how torn you were at the beginning, and then how torn you were at the end of the process. Thank you for putting some steps in place to deal with it and stop ruminating over others' opinions and my self-compassion. Yeah, awesome. That's what it's all about. It's all about resetting the mind and the body and putting these strategies and ways in place to reset, other than just trying to think from our rational mind, because we know that thinking from our rational mind and that thinking cognitive process can be really challenging when we're in a state of being torn or distressed or stressed, because that part of the brain goes offline. So we need other alternatives to support the brain and the nervous system. I call it kind of like bypassing. So you got this normal highway to this part of the brain, but if it's not working, or sometimes you want to go on a detour, or you want to go explore another avenue. And so this is what some of these processes are about, exploring the brain and the body in other ways. So this is another way around. Doing the tapping takes you into the subconscious mind, helps to realign the emotions and those feelings and sensations in the body without having to, talk about, as we would normally say, okay, where is it? What are those 2 sides? And breaking it down. It's another creative way to break it down and to feel it in the body as well. Thank you, wonderful, so much. My pleasure. It was so great to share today with you, and I look forward to another Mind Body Reset on Monday, next Monday. Have a beautiful week and have fun resetting your mind and body. Take care. Bye.